Hello, I'm Ingrid Auer. I'm from Austria, from Europe. I'm a spiritual teacher, a seminar leader, and author. But I'm also working with and for women here in Europe, but also in different countries all over the world. And on my travels, I met a very nice, amazing woman, and I'm so happy to have her with me online, of course. There are thousands of miles between us because she's from California. I'd like to introduce you to Marsh Engel. Hi, Marsh. It's so nice to be with you today.
Oh, I'm so thrilled to be here and love seeing your gorgeous smile on Zoom. How interesting it is that we could be thousands and thousands of miles apart and be able to see each other this way. Wonderful.
Absolutely, yeah. So Marsh is working with and for women as well. She has a lot of projects and she has been working since 1999. Is this correct, Marsh?
It is. I
Yeah.
started in 99 with my
Mhm.
own journey. My
Okay, so this
awake.
was my next question. How did you come to this job or to this mission of your life?
It's, like many of us, we reach a crossroads where might be great going on, or we might feel that emptiness, or we might feel that disconnect no matter where we are in our accomplishment. And I had developed and was running a large promotional marketing agency for television and film studios. Had a lot of great clients, worked, very, very hard to create that agency. And it started in January 15th of 99 when I received the phone call. When I say it started, I would say the awakening of knowing there was something more for me.
Mm-hmm.
The awakening of understanding that the journey that I was getting ready to go on was one that would really change my life and change the way, more importantly, change the way I show up in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So change my life, yes, but I think more importantly for me, it was the version of me, the more authentic me, the more spiritual nature of me that was longing. And since we're talking about women and we're talking about femininity today, I will say the more feminine nature of me. And on January 15th, 99, I received a phone call that suddenly and completely unexpectedly, my mother had died.
Okay.
And it just took me to my knees. I was just not ready for that. I wasn't ready for my mom to be gone. She was young still, in my opinion. She was 83, and I felt that was way too young. And it was quite, we had our time together still. I wasn't ready for that to happen. And I know many of us that have had an unexpected death or a loss, that it can really, it's a transformational moment for us when we look at it from the experience of what is this showing me. And since we're on a spiritual show today, I'm going to talk about the fact that when my mom died, I sat in the middle of her bed, I called it, in her home, and I was praying for my next steps. I'd flown from California to Evansville, Indiana, which was my hometown where I grew up. And in her room, she had all of her angels. She just was a beautiful, very spirited woman. And I sat in the middle of the bed, and my mother and my grandmother came to the side of the bed in spirit and said to me, "It's time for you, a search for the amazing woman. It's time for you." And at the time I thought, I have no idea what that means. What would that mean? And a search for the amazing woman. Let's all do that. I think it ignited that day when my mother passed, was this inner longing, this deep desire to connect with not just my feminine nature, but my complete, whole, integrated, embodied, soulful expression of what was wishing to come through me. And of course, that was exploring my feminine nature, because that's what I had really denied so much of. So when my mother and my grandmother said to me, "A search for the amazing woman," I thought, I don't know what that is, but it sounds amazing to me. So I literally did, Ingrid. I literally went out and started searching for what it would be to speak about and understand. I investigated, I interviewed, I researched, I did everything I could to connect with women and what they believe their soulful purpose to be. How did they connect with that?
Mm-hmm.
How did they connect with a more authentic self? How did they manage and balance it all? How did they make those discoveries? And I'll back up for just a second, is when my mom passed, I was also compelled to write her eulogy.
Mm-hmm.
And back in '99, that wasn't quite so often done by a daughter, but I was compelled to write.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote the eulogy of my mother, and I delivered it at her celebration, at her funeral. I delivered it. And that ended up being the first Amazing Woman story that I ever wrote.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, then I went on to write many stories about amazing women through my investigation, my studies, and have a book series, Amazing Women, that's out. But that was the first story. So I believe that my mom and my grandmother were giving me this gift of a search for the amazing woman and igniting within me this deep desire to know more about who I truly am and what I'm truly here to share.
Mm-hmm.
And they also inspired me not only for the search, but also for the writing.
Mm-hmm.
I believe they inspired me to put pen to paper. And I wasn't a writer. I wasn't a speaker. I tell this often on stage because I want everyone listening to know that you do not have to be a writer. You do not have to be a speaker.
Yeah.
What our job, our goal is, our vision, our purpose is to listen to that inner longing, that calling, and allow ourselves to step into it. I still don't see myself as a writer, and I write all the time.
Absolutely.
I see myself as a communicator or a storyteller,
Mm-hmm.
but I really feel that my mother's passing was also a rites of passage for me. That said, it's time for a new beginning. It's time for life, and it's time for a new way that you show up in the world.
Mm-hmm. So if a woman wants to contact you or wants to have your support, what can she find when she comes to your web page, or what can you offer? You have so many different kinds of supporting women. Can you give just an idea of what you are doing?
Yes.
Yeah?
My work through the years has evolved. I started with A Search for the Amazing Woman, which became a book series, and then Amazing Woman's Day, which were large conferences that lasted, that series, that tour was 10 years and went all over the United States and in 3 countries, an amazing program. But initially what that offering was to ignite our creativity, ignite our feminine nature. At the time I called it Feminine Success and Feminine Leadership. From the very beginning, from 99, I knew that I was searching what it would be to be feminine. Today, what I do, my focus is on women entrepreneurship, or finding a way to take our creativity and turn it into an offering, turn it into a business, a career, a way that we speak it out into the world, a way that we write it into books, a way that we can be creatively inspired. And through Marsh Engle Media, that's what I do. I focus on working with dynamic, creative entrepreneurs that are looking to build a platform that will allow them to get a message out to the world that's transformative. And I work with amazing clients, beautiful, beautiful clients. So to find me, you go to, very easy, marshengle.com, marshengle.com. And also Facebook is my main social media platform, although I am on LinkedIn and Twitter and what is the other one? Instagram. But Facebook is really my primary. And that's what my passion really centers around, taking our creativity and moving it out into the world.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's very important, especially in our time. And I mentioned before, when we spoke before our interview, that I would like to ask a very sensitive topic. In this time, the sexual abuses, for example, of Mr. Weinstein or Wiener, and probably a lot more men did not come to light because women were scared to lose their job, to lose their reputation, to ruin their career, or not to be taken seriously. What do you think have we women to learn even better? What do you think?
Such a great question, very dynamic and very meaningful and powerful and essential for us today. What I'm so moved by is, of course, since I've been working with women since 2001, it was very clear that sexual abuse and predatorship and all of the experiences that many of the women had either spoken to me or unspoken, I could feel within them. And what I knew, Ingrid, was that sexual abuse is so prevalent in our society that even if we have not directly experienced it, many of us have directly experienced it, but even if we haven't, we feel what it feels like to have that area of our body, our creativity, our sexuality and our creativity is so interlinked. To have it really ravaged, to have it, I would say, extinguished in many cases, where it's stolen from us or where it's hidden from us or where we feel fear of it or where we feel doubt around it. So the Me Too movement that we've seen happen has been so powerful. It actually started many, many years ago, but it's been just brought to light again. I feel that what it's done is allowed us to recognize on several different points. One is that sexual abuse and incest and all of the different ways, rape, everything that is associated with our beautiful feminine nature and our sexuality is much more prevalent. The abuse of that is much more prevalent in our society than even those of us that have been studying and in the energy of women for many, many years. I was surprised by the Me Too movement and the number of people stepping up. I feel that your question is that what do we as women have to learn? That would be number one, is that we can speak up, find someone, and this is not easy. My sexual abuse and the experience of it took me years and years and years, years to find the courage to speak it up. And I'm going to tell you, Ingrid, when I did, my voice was a little tiny whisper. It was a squeak. I had so much fear around it. But as I began to speak up, I found one person to listen. And then I found a group, a community that I felt safe with. And then I went into a deeper level of healing and regaining all of the power that had been taken from that experience. And my voice became much stronger. So I feel that there's one is find somebody to talk to. Do not let this be hidden. Find the Me Too movement is one step. You don't have to come out in social media about it if it doesn't feel appropriate to you, but find a Me Too listener so that you can express that to someone, because the expression of it and the letting it free from your body, letting it free in spoken word is the very first step that we can take in healing the actual the experience of it, but also the magnitude of which it is impacting women. Now, the second thing I think is very important for us to see is that since we know our sexuality and our creativity is so interlinked, imagine that this number of women saying, no longer will I be willing to settle for this. No longer will I be willing to keep this hidden. No longer will I be willing to deny or make excuses for or validate that it's okay. And can you imagine, Ingrid, when we start to stand up and open up to this and remove the shame around it and remove any kind of levels of guilt of our participation in it, can you imagine where our creativity will go? Can you imagine the expansiveness of our creativity? So I think it's a wonderful question and a wonderful investigation to our power as women to create, innovate.
Absolutely. And so this is the reason I think why we women should come together and we should stand together, because we have so much female power and so much passion and love and everything. And if we help each other like friends, even if we don't know the other woman, but it's not only on a personal level, it's on the energetical one, it's in our morphogenetic field. And I always say to my clients, let's work together, let's heal our own morphogenetic field to heal the morphogenetic field of all women around the world, even if we don't know them.
Yes, and even if we've not, even if those of us that have not experienced it, because it's so prevalent in our feminine nature, there's a feminine wound there.
Yeah.
And in that feminine wound, there are beliefs that we carry,
Yeah.
and doubts that we carry, and the way we tend to shy down, and the way we tend to diminish our power in the world. I think that this isn't, one thing I want to say is this isn't, and we were clear on it early on, it's that it's not about blaming someone. It's about us saying, this is our power, and this is our time to say yes to regaining it, and to valuing ourselves, and to seeing ourselves as much more worthy than that type of experience or environment. And the more of us that do that, regain our power as you're speaking, the more that we do this, the more powerful we will become in the world with our creativity and innovating and transforming.
Absolutely. We are now in a big time of big changes. The transformation process, or the shifting all the consciousness, is going on and on and on. And I think this is the reason why all this is coming up to the surface. And as I said, we should use this energy to heal it, to bring it out of our energetic field. First, to look at it, to realize it, and then to get into a healing mode. So, as I say, even if you don't have sexual abuse, go with this and help other women around the world, because we are connected. We're all connected energetically.
Yes.
So my next question to you, Marsh, is you're a very intellectual person, but I realized you also, and you mentioned it before, that you're also a very spiritual woman. What do you have any message for the other intellectual women maybe who join our interview? They are not so open for spirituality because they think maybe this has also to do with religion, or to doing like this. What is your approach to spirituality, to female or feminine?
I love the question. I think it's an essential question, because I don't think it's an either or. I don't think we have to be intellectual or we must be spiritual. I think it's about finding that merging. I'm going to take us back to 99 when my mom passed. I was very intellectual, running my business, creating platforms and structure around media, and running programs for this television and entertainment studio. It was a very intellectual process. But at the same time, there was a calling for a very feminine spiritual aspect of me to come in, a very intuitive aspect for me to be reignited within me. I'd always been a natural intuitive from a very young age as a child, but it was time for me to tune into what that aspect of me was again, and find a way, and this is the journey from my perspective, is to find a way to merge that intuitive, spiritual, creative, feminine aspect of me, and merge it into my intellectual ability to give shape and form to greater ideas. So let me say that a different way. I feel that our creativity and our feminine nature, our intuitive nature, is a beautiful pot of gold, we could say, of new ideas, of new ways of creating, of new answers, of solutions, of ideas, of ways we could put a business together, or put our move forward in our life, or solve some major issues and challenges, transform the world, we could say, is in our feminine, spiritual, intuitive nature. When we can bring those ideas forth and merge them with our intellectual ability, or our ability to give shape and form and structure, then we really have met the ability to make a difference in the world, I feel. It's not one or the other. It's both. Now, is that journey easy? And you've even heard me talk about, oh my gosh, am I to be a spiritual teacher, or am I to be a teacher of business building? And it was as though I were at battle, finding a way that my spiritual nature could be brought into my gifts of building business. And the more I explored that dilemma that I was having within myself, the more essential I saw that we as women, spiritual leaders, we as women, you're a spiritual leader, I'm a spiritual leader. And the more we say yes to taking that out and turning that into books, turning that into talks that we do on stage, turning that into businesses that we develop, turning that into technology and innovation that we bring forth. All of that spiritual nature is just filled with the answers that we're looking for. So I said a lot there, but it's not an either or. It's a merging of the two. We could say it's a merging of the masculine and the feminine, marrying those two together. We could say it would be a merging of the creativity and the intellect and marrying those together. We could also go as far as to say it's a merging of our soulful calling into our willingness to hand it to our personality, so that our personality can take it out into the world and share it.
Yeah.
So it's all of those things, and I love the conversation. It's really what fires me up these days, because it isn't an either or.
Yeah.
It's our spiritual women stepping out into the world and creating a difference, transforming the world by taking action on our spiritual calling.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. And I'm very happy you could express it very well, of course. And I could listen to you for hours. And I'm sure our followers, our audience also would like to learn more about your ideas, more about your project. You mentioned your web page. I will put it also online when I publish my interview with you, and I'm really thankful for be connected with you online, and I'm looking forward to see you maybe in January in LA.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I love to be with you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.